We're going to start the meeting in about 3 minutes. We're waiting for a couple more members. We will now call to order the Committee on Labor and Commerce. We have a quorum. Now ask if we will now open the rolls for attendance. The clerk should close the roll. Okay, today we have just a few things I want to speak about this today. Standing order of business for the Labor and Commerce Committee. The committee meetings will be held again on Tuesdays and Thursdays afternoon after the House session adjournment. Subcommittees will meet after full committee adjournment in the same meeting room, House Room A, here on the lower level. Attendees must be seated unless they are called to testify at the podium. The chair will call on patrons based on the bill in front of the committee. Meetings will be live streamed. Written comments on each bill can be made anytime once the bill is listed for committee on the committee agenda. Testimony will be limited on the bill. Chair will call on the first person and person present in the committee room, and then call on the remote speakers. Both speakers and those wanting to testify, please use your mic. Keep your mic muted until you are recognized by the chair to speak. And the chair will request members use the request to speak button, the bottom right on your monitor that's yellow. And that is all we have for today. Of course, no banners or anything will be allowed in the room. And so We can now go on to our first order of business. We have only one bill in full committee today, and that bill happens to be my bill, so I will now turn over the gavel to the vice chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We will now hear HB 1 from Chair Ward.
Once again, good afternoon to everyone. House Bill 1 is a bill that we have heard for quite a while, to be honest with you. Back in 2020 is when the bill first was introduced, and it was to incrementally increase the minimum wage in Virginia to $15 an hour by January the 1st, 2028. It builds on the progress that we made in 2020 by boosting wages for an additional 421,000 Virginia workers. We need a strong minimum wage in Virginia that uplifts families, many of whom are struggling. They're struggling to make ends meet. This bill will have a positive impact on Virginians from every corner of this Commonwealth. 63% of workers who would benefit from raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour are women, and 54% of them are people of color. Most of these low-wage workers, they work at least 20 hours a week, and 26% of them live in families that are below the poverty level. 11% of all Virginians will directly or indirectly see a raise from boosting the minimum wage to $15 by an hour by 2028. This bill will change lives, and it will make life more affordable for Virginia families. See, Virginia's current minimum wage is $12.77. Back in 2020, I remember it like it was yesterday, and just to remind you, the minimum wage was $7.25 an hour. It's unbelievable. But because of this legislation, we have been able to pass incremental increases, and we were told that we would have to pause in 2020. You remember, we wanted to have an opportunity for us to study what that increase had done for the economy, had it hurt us or anything, and that's what we did. We paused, and there was no increase in 2024, and there has been no increase since 2025. We have seen adjustments made to reflect inflation. If you remember that bill, House Bill, 395, we added something to it to make sure that if it did not increase the way we wanted it to increase, that we had it built in, that there would be an increase based on the consumer price index. But those adjustments that were made never make up for the unexpectedly high inflation we experienced since the pandemic. We're behind schedule, and Virginia workers need a raise now. This bill would set the wage at $13.75 as of January the 1st, 2027, and $15 an hour as of January 2028. You will remember that we took everything into consideration. We wanted to make sure we moved slowly so that businesses would be prepared, and that's what we have done. But now it has taken us already, it will be at least 8 years before we've gotten it to the point where we want it to be. But now it's time for us to act, By passing this bill, we have a real opportunity to support Virginia workers and to lift more families out of poverty. And I ask for support of this bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me just take a moment to thank you and tell you how much I, and I know a lot of others, admire your determination and your persistence, your courage, and your determination here to get this bill across the finish line. You've been a real champion for this issue, and we're all grateful. I know a lot of people in Virginia are grateful for your hard work on this case.
Thank you.
On this matter. Does anyone on the committee have any questions for Chairman Warren?
Mr. Chair,
I'm sorry, I can't see the board from here. Delegate Wren, or Williams, excuse me.
question for the patron.
Yes.
I was curious to know how affordability has increased between the initial minimum wage and now where we're at. How has that increase helped affordability?
To be more specific, are you looking at small businesses, or what is it you're looking at? Just affordability? Well, let me just say that while minimum wage increases do require that business owners to make adjustments, but research has shown that ultimately they benefit both the worker and the business. Let me give you an example. You've got people working at Dollar General. They have to increase the minimum wage. Now, those people who are working at Dollar General, as soon as they get their paycheck, they turn that money usually right back around and buy what they need at Dollar General. So most of these people, they don't take their money and store it away someplace in stocks or anything. They put it right back into the community. So it really helps people because they got a little bit more money to spend.
Mr. Chair, follow up.
Delegate Williams.
So you said that businesses have to make adjustments. Would you agree with me that those adjustments include not hiring more people, cutting hours and staff, or automating?
And that's possible, depends on what your businessman model is, on what you do. Now, some people, and I don't want to go into a lot of details, when you say automated and everything else, some people know that when they automate those grocery lines, they've been finding out sometimes they're losing more money because some people go through those self-checkout lines, and sometimes they're losing money on those things also. So that's just one example, but what they're doing is they're keeping people. That's the thing. You're not constantly letting people go because your business competition across the street is paying more money. Therefore, your people are leaving, and you're constantly trying to find somebody who would work at lower wages.
Mr.
Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Speaking to the bill?
Well, before we do that, is there anyone else with a question of the patron? All right, let's open this up. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to testify in favor of this bill? If you could keep your remarks brief, we'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Mr. Chair, members, Tom and Torcio with the Virginia Catholic Conference, we support the bill because it helps to move the wages in Virginia toward a living wage for families right now. For example, a typical family with two children, two incomes, the living wage is $23. That's what the living wage would be. And so this would help us move closer to a living wage. And for that reason, we thank the patron for the bill.
Thank you, sir. This line wasn't as long when I asked people to keep their remarks brief. Let's actually put a limit on it. Let's make this a minute each, please. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Excuse me. Meg Gruber, retired educator representing Virginia Education Association. We are not only in support of this bill, we would also like to remind people that we have support professionals, support staff who currently make less than minimum wage in some areas. So this raise would be extremely important to them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Why don't y'all feel free to come up a little closer? Stop the line there. That's great. Thank you, ma'am.
Ashley C. Kenneth, President and CEO of the Commonwealth Institute, and we strongly support this bill that will boost wages for over 421,000 Virginians. And we thank the chairwoman for her dedication to this issue and her consistent support of Virginia workers. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Ashley Crocker from Progress, Virginia. People in our community work hard and they deserve to earn at least $15 an hour so that they can afford basic things like housing, food. Right now, there is no place in the Commonwealth where you can live on $12.77 an hour, and raising the minimum wage puts money back into local businesses, lifts families out of poverty, and grows our economy from the middle out. It's fair and it's long overdue. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Jordan Roberts with Voices for Virginia's Children. We strongly support this bill. Raising the minimum wage to $15 per hour is critical for family economic security and child well-being. Research shows that dollar increases in the minimum wage reduces child neglect cases by 10% by alleviating financial stress on working families. We urge you to support HB1 and ensure Virginia's working parents can provide prosperous, safe, stable homes for their children, and we thank the patron for her championship of this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairwoman Ward. Ramon Cepeda Ramos with the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy. We strongly support this bill. We strongly support raising the minimum wage. In the last few General Assembly sessions, we've brought the voice of people of faith and goodwill. Hundreds of faith leaders and judicatory leaders have signed letters urging the previous governor to sign this bill into law. $15 an hour is needed, but more is also needed to get workers to a true living wage. Please also consider supporting other legislation like childcare, paid sick leave, etc. Please help working families. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, President. My name is Manuel Gago for the Worker Justice Program and Legal Aid Justice Center. We strongly support this bill that will help Virginia workers to have a decent life.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair. Ryan O'Toole with Freedom Virginia. We strongly support the bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair. I'm Joanna Darkus, an attorney at the Virginia Poverty Law Center, and as a statewide anti-poverty program, we strongly support paying low-wage workers more, and we know that this is long overdue, and we're grateful to Madam Chair for her longstanding support.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Doris Krause-Mays, President of the Virginia AFL-CIO, and I just want to echo everything that's been said. But I will add this: rising tides floats all boats, and it's time we do that. So thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. It's been a long time coming. I'm Julia Newton with SCIU Virginia 512. I am a low-wage worker because I am also a caregiver for my son, and this is overdue. And we appreciate you carrying this bill for so many years and looking out for the working families of Virginia. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Nikki Robinson with CWA, Communication Workers of America, and we strongly support the bill.
Mr. Vice Chair and members of the committee, I'm Kirk Jones. I'm speaking on behalf today on the A. Philip Randolph Institute. We strongly support the bill, and we thank Madam Chairwoman for bringing it before the General Assembly again.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Patrick Brigham with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 666. Our electricians support this bill. Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman, members of the committee, Don Baylor with National Coalition of Public Safety Officers. We would urgently request that every member support this legislation.
Jimmy Hart, Richmond resident. This bill was necessary 5 or 6 years ago when this would have been a really nice raise for a lot of people making next to nothing, starving, getting kicked out of their homes, living on the streets. Today, imagine the kind of person you have to be to vote against raising wages for people that are already making poverty wages to just a slightly less poverty. It's disgusting to vote against it. Disgusting.
Is there anyone in the audience who wants to testify in opposition to HB 1? Seeing none, we'll come back to the committee. Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Speaking to the bill.
Delegate Clark.
Thank you. I just wanted to also thank the patron for this bill. We see that rising rent and utilities and groceries are up, and yet our wages haven't got there yet. So I just thank you, because this bill would almost put $5,000 back into hardworking families' pockets. So I just thank you again for meeting the moment.
Delegate Kilgore.
Yes. You know, the cost of labor goes up. What else happens? Prices go up. All you folks that come in here and say that this is great, it's going to raise everybody, what it's going to do in rural areas of the state where I live, we're right on the border of Tennessee, North Carolina, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Those businesses are going to move because it's cheaper to do business in the other states. I know that this is a feel-good bill, but most people are already making $15 an hour. Most people are, but in the grocery stores, one of our big grocers down there, they start the minimum wage, the $12 an hour, is for the high school students, so they can get in and get some experience in work and get some experience going to a job. And I think that's what we're going to lose out on, some of those experiences, because we're not going to be able to make those hires. And especially, I've already heard from one restaurant owner lives right on the line in my area. He says he looks like he's going to move over to Tennessee because, you know, the tips and everything. So, I mean, I know y'all think you're doing a great service here, but I do not think you're doing a great service when we're competing with all the other states on a daily basis. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Delegate Wilt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaking to the bill.
Delegate Wilt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I just want to echo some of Delegate Kilgore's comments, and certainly want to express my appreciation for the intent of the legislation going forward. Seems like for this session, the word of the session, not word of the day, but word of the session is affordability. And so, you know, I assume that that's the direction that this legislation is geared towards, making things more affordable. But ladies and gentlemen, we're kidding ourselves if we think that all the things that we've cited, groceries and whatnot, the cost of everything, to see how the cost of those things have risen and not at least consider that the rise in wages aren't a part of what's caused those prices to go up. So in spite of what some folks think, businesses generally work on very thin profit margin. And there's a huge difference between profit and profit margins. You actually got to pay your employees, you got to pay your bills, you got to pay, okay, there's a lot of things that gets covered. And at the end of the day, there are very thin margins of what's left over. And so to maintain that profit margin, the businesses, as their expenses increase, which labor's generally the hugest part of that, they've got to go up on their prices. Now, there are some, I would say they could just stay as it is and eat the increase, or they're going to cut jobs. They're going to automate. We've heard the term automate here. I mean, that's a real thing. Where can you go that there's not a kiosk that has replaced a worker? And so, you know, I don't know that anybody has the exact number of what the actual effect, but to think that it hasn't had a negative impact, I think we're kidding ourselves. If we want to rise all those ships, we need a healthy economy. We need a job availability, have upward mobility opportunities for our workers to be able to better themselves, and that opens the door on the lower end for folks to move into the job market, and that's the way that we raise all those ships. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me.
You almost said it. I heard that SP in there.
Thank you for your time. I'd ask that we use caution in moving forward. Thank you.
Let me just say before I give you the last word, Chair Ward, I remember when you first brought this bill. Frankly, there are a lot of people on this dais who weren't even here. And we were told, you were personally told when you were on the floor, that this was going to tank our economy. This was going to cause economic chaos in Virginia, drive people from Virginia, drive businesses from Virginia. And then for the last 4 years, every year, the governor came to us and talked about how Virginia was doing great. Jobs were up, wages were up, businesses were coming to Virginia. And this great cataclysm that had been predicted because we were raising the wage just a little bit for people at the lower end of the income scale never came to pass.
It's true.
Their lives, the 400,000 plus people that this will help, their lives are certainly going to get more affordable.
Yes.
So again, I want to thank you for your leadership on this. And now I'll ask you for the last word.
Yes, I just want to comment on regionalism, because that's the reason why we had that pause. We wanted to make sure that we weren't hurting anyone, and we did a lot of research back in right during that time, and we found out after we did all the reporting, it said there was no conclusive evidence demonstrating the clear advantage or disadvantage of a regional minimum wage over a statewide minimum wage. While the regional minimum wage might reflect regional variations in standards of living and economic need, in practice, there was no substantive barriers in implementing and enforcing a regional minimum wage. That's why we called for the report, and we checked to make sure it was not hurting any area of the state. And in conclusion, Mr. Chair, I just want to mention, back in 2020, 725, increasing it to higher than 725. The same people who voted against it then are saying some of the same things now. So sometimes I want to know, how low is low enough? Mr. Speaker, I thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Please don't repeat that. I'm sorry. Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
Okay. The committee moves by motion.
Mr.
If there
Chair,
should,
motion.
if
Move
there
to
should
report.
happen to be a motion
Move to
to
report.
report the bill, it needs to go to appropriations.
And move to report the bill and have it go to appropriations, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion to report the bill and send it to appropriations properly seconded. Will the clerk please open the roll? Clerk will please close the roll. HB 1 reports and sent to appropriations by a vote of 15 to 7. Thank you very much, Delegate Ward.
Thank you so much. And now that completes our docket for today. But right afterwards, please remain subcommittee number 1 and then subcommittee number 3. Hang around close. The committee shall now adjourn.